Okay, hello. My name is Katarzyna, and I work for Lang Lion. And as you can see, I'm not alone today, but a time for a proper introduction will be in a second. Um, uh, because we are still waiting for other people who might join us. I hope that we are visible and that you can hear us. Thank you for saying hello in the chat box. We are always curious, where are you from? So you can write something down. I'm in Warsaw and Bill is in
Portugal.
In Portugal. Yeah, we
Hi,
are.
everybody.
Yeah. Hello. And we have people from Krakow. We have So
Krakow's beautiful. It's beautiful there.
Okay. Warsaw, so a strong Polish representation.
Yeah, well, my wife is half Polish, so I have a connection.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't speak Polish, unfortunately.
Okay, so she was born in Portugal?
No, she was born in London. Her dad is Polish.
Okay.
Or her dad was Polish, I should say, unfortunately.
Okay, so she didn't have a chance to live here.
No. It was a very common name, though. Apparently, Szymanski. Is that a very common name in Poland?
Can you repeat?
Szymanski?
Yes. Yeah. We would pronounce it Szymański.
Szymanski. Is that correct?
Yes, of course.
Szymanski.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Great guy. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Morning,
I think that we will be starting in a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are joining us, and we will wait another minute, and I will introduce Bill, and we will start properly. Okay, we have many guests right now. Can't wait to hear your story. So people are really expecting a lot from you.
Well, I'm very excited too. Thank you.
I'm sure you won't be disappointed. So I think we can start now. My name is Katarzyna Paśnicka. I work for Lang Lion, an online platform for language school management. As you can see, we have a very special guest today. It's Bill Sodhi. Bill, as he said, he resides in Portugal, but he's originally from the UK. And he worked for 20 years in customer service as a cabin crew in British Airways. And in 2010, he joined his wife, who opened English language school in Portugal. He joined her as a part-time teacher and as a full-time marketing and customer service manager. And Bill spent many hours learning, taking courses, and implementing his knowledge to improve results in his school. And today he will share his experience with us. The main topic of today's webinar will be Bill's success story, because Bill achieved remarkable results, which is he has clients who buy courses in his school year after year. And his students also recommend his school to other people. And who wouldn't like that for his or her business? I hope that this story will give you a lot of useful information, and that you will have an inspiration to develop your business. If you have any questions, as usual, you can put them in the chat box. If you have any questions for me, that's also the right place to put them. If you want to know more about Lang Lion, you can always go to langlion.com. You have all sorts of information there and all contact details. And Bill, good luck.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you.
You can start.
Thank you very much. So are you going to put up the slides for me? So welcome, everyone. I'm very excited to be here and to present to you. I'm speaking English. Obviously, I know there's a lot of people whose second language is English here today. If I speak too quickly, please say. And also, I would really encourage you to participate. And if you have any questions, or doubts, please enter them. We'll do a Q&A, a questions and answers at the end of the presentation. Okay. So, this is my story, basically, how I renewed 83% of students for my wife's language school. And this can be applied to any educational establishment, really, what I did. And it's also not very complicated. In fact, it's quite straightforward. This is real results, and I achieved the 83% in 2021. And that was just, as you know, during the crisis of COVID, at the end of COVID, really. So this process was a long time in coming, and I'm going to start presentation now. So let's get started. Yeah. So, this slide here, and by the way, this is not a picture of me. My son thought it was a picture of me. This is a guy called Shep Hyken, and he's a customer service expert, and he writes books as well. And this quote from him sums everything I'm about to teach you today. The best advertising you can have is a loyal customer spreading the word about how incredible your business is. And this really is everything to me. And this is why I focus on what I do. So let's get started. And first of all, I'm going to tell you what this presentation actually isn't. Okay. So this isn't all about how to advertise. This is not front-end marketing. This is what we call back-end marketing. This isn't a slideshow on how to spend money on optimizing your website. And this isn't also a quick thing. This isn't a quick fix. If you work in education, as I do, that nothing happens quickly and is effective. Your clients have to study at your school consistently to get results. And it's the same about everything in life. Let's be honest. We can't get success from anything super quick. We have to be consistent in doing it. And this process requires you to be consistent. Okay. So let's move on to the next slide. So yeah, at the end of this webinar, I want to give you a little gift for staying on the webinar. And these are 3 very simple documents that started this whole process off for me in the early days. And I still use these documents today. They're simple, but they're very effective, and they can start you on this journey very effectively. You may already use a document very similar to this, but maybe you don't, because wherever you are in your business, trust me, I've been there, right? I've been at the very beginning of a business, the really hard times, the struggle, figuring things out. I've been everywhere that you have been, and the struggles that you maybe are going through now, I don't know. So, these documents could help you if you're at the very beginning. If you're not, well, it doesn't matter. They might be useful as well. I'm also going to give you an offer to join me, because I want to create a course, a new course, a foundation course on how to implement what I'm about to show you today. I'm going to show you everything, but obviously the implementation is more, there's more to it. Okay. So here's a very funny picture, right? Of, bears in a field, and they're eating honey, right? And, I'm going to use this analogy throughout the presentation to make things a little bit clearer. And, the bears are basically your business and your staff, and, the honey, sorry, I got that wrong. Scrap that. The honey is your business and your staff, and the bears are your clients. Okay. And you have to attract bears to honey to make your business effective. Okay. So just to repeat that, the bears are your clients and the honey is your business. Okay. And you're basically, your business is people. Okay. Because you're in the service business. So the honey is your people, and the honey is you, and the honey is your business or your school. Okay. So that's the analogy I'm going to use throughout the presentation. So what's in it for you, this presentation? Well, I'm going to show you how you can renew up to 80% of your clients. Obviously, I can't guarantee your results. 83% was the highest I've achieved. I guess I average now about 79%. So I've kind of rounded it up to 80%. But obviously, you know, it depends on how you apply what I'm going to show you and what I'm going to teach you. I'm also going to introduce you to what I call overlooked secrets. Okay, 3 secrets on how you can over deliver for your clients. And this is what it's all about. And I love this word over deliver, because for a business to be successful, excuse me, you need to stand out, and you need to stand out by over delivering for your clients. You need to give them more, because what you provide as a business is actually very similar to other businesses. Yeah, there's plenty of language schools, there's plenty of private schools, there's plenty of creches for babies. So, you know, people have a choice, you know, they have a choice, because what you provide can be supplied elsewhere. So you have to stand out from your competition. You have to be different. And to be different, you have to over deliver on what you promise to your clients. Okay. So look, a quick introduction about me. The ladies at Langline have been amazing introducing me to this presentation for you. My name is Bill, as you know, and I'm Bill Sodi, and I worked, as Kate said, for 20 years at British Airways. I started at British Airways very young in life. I was 21 when I joined BA, and it really was a fantastic experience for me, and I loved every minute. It's an amazing job. I flew all over the world. I met amazing people. And it taught me a lot about people and about how to serve people. I served at the highest level. I served politicians. I served royalty. I served a lot of celebrities. Now I'm a family man with a wife. I have 3 kids and a very crazy dog, a Jack Russell. And you might even see my dog later in the presentation. We have a picture, I think, later in the presentation. So my passion really is for customer service. And this was developed in me from a very young age, as I said, at British Airways. And marketing became a passion for me from my wife's business when I joined it, because I quickly realized that, you know, to be in business, you have to be marketing. Marketing is your role in your business. If you own a business, that is your prime role, is to market your business and to sell your services. And I see customer service and marketing as the same, frankly. I see good marketing as good customer service and vice versa. Okay. So let's see if I can scroll down on this site. I'm not very familiar. What am I doing here? Can I scroll down? Here we go. I've got it. Okay. So here is a picture of me at BA. This was my last flight at British Airways. And you know, I left in 2009, and I quickly joined my wife's business in 2010. And it was during the crisis that we started, the financial crisis, if you remember that we started our business. It was a terrible time to start a business, but we survived. And here is a picture of me and my family. We're in Florida on a trip to Disney, I think it was. And we had a fantastic time there. But enough about me. What can you expect from this presentation? Well, as I mentioned before, this constant theme within my presentation will be to over deliver on your clients. And also I'm going to show you how you need to use not only email and social media for your marketing, but you also need to use a very specialized form of direct mail. Okay. Now, you know, when I first started talking to Kate at Langline about this, we had a bit of a laugh, because we talked about how, you know, if you look in your post box nowadays, there's not very much in it, right? You might get the odd letter from the government or something, but your post box is generally quite empty these days. In the past, it used to be full, absolutely full of junk mail, right? But can I ask you a question? Where is your junk mail nowadays? Where do you find it? Put it in the chat if you know the answer to that question. Where do you usually see most junk mail today? If anyone knows, let me know in the chat. Any ideas? Yeah, exactly. That's right, Marta. It's in your email, isn't it? You now get all your junk mail in your email, okay? And so things have changed, right? Things have changed. So the junk mail has moved from your post box into your inbox, okay? So the post box is now pretty empty for more specialized direct mail, and direct mail that your clients and customers and contacts can take notice of and open and read. We'll talk a bit more about that later. Also, a big part of this process was, me learning how to recruit top staff, what I call A-player staff. And this is a major, major part of this process. This has enabled me and my wife to separate from the business, and it's allowed the business to work for us rather than us work for the business, and it's created a more freedom lifestyle for us, and it can do for you if you implement the same process. And that's why I'm so excited about this, because this really has created opportunities for us to do what we love. And this is an example. What I'm doing for you right now is what I love. It's my passion. And this has enabled me, this whole process has enabled me to do this with you today and now. And my wife now is really separated from the business as well, because we have staff that we can trust to work for us. She's doing things that she really loves as well. Okay, so are you all in? What does that mean? Well, when you create change, you have to be fully invested in change, and so, I want to get to know you a little bit. Just in the chat box, just quickly tell me where you are in the world. I know we have a lot of people from Poland, which I'm excited about. I went to Poland very recently for the first time. I loved it. I went to Krakow with my wife, who's half Polish. Anyone else? Yep. Wrocław, Poland, Athens. Wow, Athens, that's exciting. Croatia, fantastic. This is so exciting. Spain, wow, lovely. This is really great. It's great to have so many people from all over the world. That's amazing. Mostly from Europe, the Beskidi Mountains. Wow, that sounds exciting. Wow, thanks, guys. And look, just let me know. This presentation is about achieving 80% of renewals in your business. What are your current renewals? Do you know what your current renewals are? If you don't, that's fine. I was there. I didn't know what my renewals were at one stage. If you don't know, let me say it. It doesn't matter. But if you know what your current renewals are, please put it in the chat box. Or if you don't, say it. So renewals would be, how many people renew in your business every year, come back every year to your business and stay with your business. Okay, Caroline, not really. That's fine. That's fine. For a few years, I never knew either. So it's if you know what your renewals are, the percentage, about 60, 65. That's pretty good. Yeah. 85. Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. So renewals, renewals, what I mean by that is renewals of your clients, your students or clients. 65 to 70%. It's really good result, Marta. Fantastic. Okay, 80%, that's fantastic. They're really, really high. So, you guys with high renewals, you can really benefit. Maybe you can increase your renewals even higher than mine by implementing some of these strategies, and are you happy? Just let me know in the chat box. Are you happy with your recruitment, with your staff? Do you feel like you've got your recruitment right? Okay, so Matthew's not convinced with his recruitment process. That's fine. I'm going to help you with that. Anyone else? Yes, it's worked. Yeah, worked on it for years. Yeah, pretty happy. That's great, Carolina. Thank you. Great. Thanks for your feedback, guys. Really appreciate it. I have a small school, so maybe the reason process. Yeah. Okay. All teachers are involved. Fantastic. A few people to work. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that. Well, this has been a game changer for me, and I'm going to show you. Close contact with parents, very, very important, and that's a big part of my process as well. I'm going to show you a very, very effective recruitment campaign that I use in our business. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So here we go. We've done, oh, sorry, we've done that one. Going backwards here. Am I going backwards? Yeah. Okay. Ah, yes. Now, another question I have here for you guys is, do you know what the value of each of your clients is? Do you know what your lifetime value of your clients is? That what I mean by that is, you know, on average, how, like, imagine you sell a course for 1,000 euros. How long does your average client stay in your business? So, for example, you know, when I first did this, I figured out that each client stayed for two and a half years. Okay, so Martin, 3 to 4 years, 5 years or longer, that's great. Yeah, so people know, that's fantastic. 4 to 6, yeah. And you know, one thing I will say is that Langline really helped me with this process, because if you haven't done this before, it's 3 years, thanks Marta. If you haven't done this before in your business, Langline can really help with this, because it helped me. So what I did is I looked at Langline, because obviously when you put your clients into Langline, you have their start date, and you can then create a spreadsheet of all your existing clients and students, and then you can see exactly, you know, when they joined. And what you'll find is there's a group, a cluster, if you like, a cluster of time where most of your students are. Okay. Now, when I first did this, it was 2.5 years, and I had students for a lot longer. I had some students for 10 years in my business, 8 years, our business. But you know, I found it was on average 2.5 years. Okay. So obviously I needed to extend that. And also, you know, it's important to know how much it costs to acquire each of your customers. And this obviously involves your marketing costs and your advertising costs. So it's another thing you need to know. What is your customer acquisition cost? And this is important because, for example, imagine you have a client like mine was 2.5 years, for example, and the client is, the course is 1,000 euros. Okay, so you're going to achieve 2,500 euros from that client if they stay on average for 2.5 years. But imagine you spend 500 euros to acquire each client via advertising. Maybe you advertise via Facebook or Google, and it costs 500 euros per client. Well, obviously that really takes up quite a big part of your income from each client. And so, you know, the aim is obviously to reduce that cost, reduce that acquisition cost of each of your students or clients. And this is why I started this process, because I didn't want to start advertising when I didn't know how to advertise in the early days. So this is important to increase profit within your business and reduce your acquisition costs. And what I'm about to show you will do that, okay? So we're on slide 13. I'm not familiar with this program and this platform, sorry. So yeah, this involves change, right? If you're going to implement anything that's new within your business, you know, it involves making changes, you know? And, you know, humans, we work with people, right? We know that change is not easy, right? People resist change, because change in the past was actually quite dangerous for humans, wasn't it, in the past? So we're wired to avoid change. But, you know, one of the quickest ways I've learned to implement change in a business is to involve the staff more, involve your employees more, and create strategic meetings, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into strategic meetings now, but that is the way to make your staff more involved, feel more ownership within your business, and accept change easier. And when you set strategic meetings, you set targets for those changes. And humans like that. They like goals, and change becomes easier when you do that. So I recommend that, but obviously we're not going to talk about that today, okay? What we are going to talk about today are these 3 secrets that I introduced at the very beginning of the webinar, okay? And the next slide is going to give you the 3 secrets, okay? So the first one is you have to build what is called in marketing know, like, and trust. So people who know about marketing will probably be very aware of this. this phrase, know, like, and trust, but it's essential, especially in the type of business you are in, because you're not in a supermarket where something costs 10 euros, okay, or 5 euros or 1 euro. You're in what's called a high ticket price. And, you know, for example, a course might cost 1,000 euros in your school, okay? So this is not something people just spend very easily. So you have to build know, like, and trust before people are happy to spend that kind of money within your business. So that's secret one. And it very, very quickly links to secret two, which is what I call, you know, create your content machine. And this is maybe going to be a surprise for you. You might be surprised as to what this is and how effective this has been for me. But this then becomes your content machine, secret two. And you can then use this content machine to distribute all your content throughout your various social media platforms, maybe a podcast or whichever social medias you use. And of course, secret three is what I call the game changer, and that is bringing in A-player staff, okay? So depending on where you are in the cycle of a business, you know, maybe your current lifestyle, in your current lifestyle, you're feeling a little bit like this, because I know in the past we have, especially my wife, who is the owner of the business, you know, maybe you feel that you don't have enough time in your day. You're too busy in your work. And this can lead to frustration, you know, and you can feel frustrated. And maybe you're frustrated, as I know one or two of you are from the chat box, with your staff, who maybe you have unreliable staff. And if you have unreliable staff, that affects your client's results. And of course, if your client results are effective, well, of course, that leads to, you know, inconsistent income that can affect your money, the revenue that comes into your business. And obviously that's not what you want. You want your income to be growing and not being inconsistent. Okay. Does anyone have these feelings right now within their business, or has any of these frustrations at the moment? Anyone feel like time is a problem, or unreliable staff, or their client results? Just put it in the chat. Yeah, it's all three. Okay, that's well, I can definitely help with that. That's great. Well, it's not great, but you know, lots of ideas, too little time. Yeah, sure. Well, let me tell you, Marta, the time thing is massive, isn't it? And this is where the good staff come in, because good staff allow you to have more time. You know, so this will be a big help for you. So, you know, maybe you feel like this. I know we have in the past, especially my wife, definitely felt like this for quite a few years in the early stages of the business. She felt overworked, underpaid, and unappreciated by her colleagues and sometimes by her clients, you know, but because all the work she was putting in. And you know, ultimately you go into a business because you want to break free from this. You want a business to be working for you, and you want to break free from the ups and downs of a business and the stress within a business, because you want to create a freedom lifestyle for yourself. That's the ultimate goal. That's why we are all in business, is because we want more freedom. But what often happens is you end up in the opposite situation and end up working a lot more than you wanted to, or you plan to. Okay, so, you know, before I go into the secrets, we need to really focus on the fact that all people buy from other people. We're in the people business, okay? And you know, like I mentioned before, people have to trust you. And this is the introduction to the first secret, know, like, and trust. They'll only buy from you if they trust you, especially the kind of money that you want people to spend. And so you have to invest, as I mentioned before, in your clients, and you have to stand out. You have to be different from your competition. And, you know, one of the main ways to do that is to create content yourself, or you can obviously pay someone to create content for yourself as well. And this creates authority in you, and authority in you as a business owner and in your school. Okay, and that authority builds trust. And if you have someone who trusts you and thinks of you as an authority figure in your field and in your profession, they're much more likely to spend money with you and continue to spend money with you as well. And that's what I'm going to introduce now. So, you know, we're told a lot of things, aren't we? We're told, you know, in business, we've got to do all these things, you know. I call them tactics. Some people call them shiny objects, you know. We're told you've got to grow your following, you've got to create a Facebook group, run classes on Zoom, do challenges, post on social media all over the place, you know. And yes, I'm not saying that these things are not good and they're not, you know, good in building your brand awareness. But let me tell you, I don't have any real social media presence. I'm a little bit older, and I don't particularly like spending time on social media. So, you know, these are great. You can do these, but they're not really a strategy. They're not a real, you know, foundational strategy for your business. These are kind of like little tactics that you can do. So yeah, carry on doing them, but there's more effective things that you can do to build a strategy. So before I present the next slide, I'm just going to ask you a question. What do you feel, if you wouldn't mind putting it in the chat box, what do you feel are the two main reasons that clients will leave your business? The two main reasons that clients leave any business. What do you think they are? Just put it in the chat box if you give me your opinion. Time? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, Joanna. What do you mean that you don't have time for them? Maybe is that what you mean? Boredom, poor quality of service. Yeah. Money. Money. Okay. Moving away. Of course. Yeah. Poor service, poor results. That's good, Matthew. I like that one. Cheaper competition. That's interesting. They have the certificate they needed. Okay. Yeah. I know in some countries, in particular Spain, certification is a big deal for students. Yeah. Working long hours. Yeah. So didn't meet their expectations. Exactly. You got it right there for sure. We're not what they're looking for because of the timetable in the classes don't match. Yes, obviously scheduling can be definitely a problem. Yeah. Okay. Well, look, you know, from my research, you know, I've done a lot of work investing in my own education. And the two main reasons that people leave your business are poor results and lack of care and attention. Matthew, you got it bang on there. These are the two main reasons, right? And, you know, obviously if your clients and students are not getting results, they'll leave, yeah? And if you're not showing them enough care or attention, and you've probably done this yourself, you probably felt a business doesn't really care about you, and so you find someone who does, you know? But you can stop this. There's an easy way to stop this. And when you do stop this and counteract these two things and focus on these two things, it can grow your business. And, you know, this doesn't involve spending money on advertising because I don't advertise, okay? I allow my students to do the advertising and my reviews to do the advertising. And one of the main reasons I don't advertise is because initially in the early days, I couldn't afford it, right? And then, you know, advertising is complex, right? You have to know what you're doing if you're going to advertise, especially on Facebook or Google. You need to know what you're doing. You have to create a pathway from the advert to your business, what's called a funnel, and you have to then convert that client from the funnel. It's a complicated business. And if you don't know what you're doing, advertising can quickly add up in cost and not necessarily deliver the results, okay? So this doesn't involve advertising. So there's an easy way, and like I said, you can do this. I've done it. Anyone can do it, but you need a plan. It's what I call a master plan, yeah? And you can see that in my little logo at the bottom, my Wheel of Fortune master plan. And it doesn't have to be complex. This is not complex, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. It doesn't break the bank, okay? Because this is a fundamental part of what I'm about to show you. This is just like I said before, it's an investment in your existing clients, but not only your existing clients, your past clients as well, because they can refer people to your business. And also anyone that comes into contact with your business. And one of those free forms I'm going to give you is very much associated with contacts. and how important they are. Just give me a second here. Okay, so where did I learn this and where did this start for me? Well, the first secret, which I'm about to show you, I kind of learned from this guy. His name is Dan Kennedy. Okay. As you can see, he's quite an old guy now. His health is not too good. And if you've done any reading on direct marketing, you'll probably know this guy. He's a very famous marketing consultant in America. And he's been around for a long, long time. And he's called the Millionaire Maker because a lot of his clients become millionaires. And, you know, I learned this first strategy from him and the importance of it. And, you know, he has taught me a lot. He creates, let me tell you, he creates 4 hard copy newsletters every month. Okay, he creates 4 different separate hard copy newsletters every month. And this leads me nicely into the first secret, which is how to build know, like, and trust. And here's what he says about hard copy newsletters. Okay, there is nothing better to create stickiness with your customers than a really well-written customer newsletter. Okay, so the key words here from Dan are really well written. Okay, because your customer newsletter, it can't be boring. That's one of the big sins in marketing, is your business being boring. Because if you write boring content, people will ignore you. So it's really important you write it well, okay, and that it's relevant and interesting to your clients. But this may surprise you that the first secret is to create a hard copy newsletter. Now, does anyone here create an online newsletter already? Or maybe even a hard copy newsletter? Does anyone? Yep. Marina? Fantastic. Yep. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Alicia. Thanks, Zoe. Yep. No. Have a plan. Good. Excellent. This might help. Fantastic. Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, so, you know, this might surprise you because people might consider a hard copy newsletter to be, how to make the newsletter, yeah. Well, that's part, exactly, that's part of the process, Alicia, how to get them to read it. And that's the part that it has to be really well written, and there's ways to write, yeah, and you have to learn how to write a newsletter well. And this is what I've perfected, you know, in the last 3 years, how to write really well and how to write a really well written customer newsletter, hard copy. Now, this may surprise you, but remember what I said about your letterbox being empty and how, you know, your inbox is full, right, of junk, yeah? So this is where the newsletter now is even actually more effective because it stands out in your letterbox, okay? And so going back to my analogy of bears and honey, you attract your clients and make yourself irresistible, okay, with your newsletter, okay, and with your content, just like the honey is to the bears, okay? So let's move on to the next slide, and we'll go into this in more detail as to why I think newsletters are so effective, yeah? So look, here's a poll from the Australian Post Office, and they said in a report that 99% of direct mail is opened. So everything that's in your inbox, your letterbox, you open, okay? I do. I don't know about you, but I open every single letter. And MailChimp, which is a big marketing platform, online platform, has said that only 21% of email is opened. So you can see the difference here, and you can see the effectiveness of good specialized direct mail or a good, well-written newsletter. And the reason is because, you know, we get excited about things that we touch, okay? Tangible things like Christmas cards. If you get a Christmas card, you get a little bit excited. If you get a present or a gift and you have to open it, you get excited. When I worked at British Airways, a sales tactic was to always give people the duty-free gifts or items to hold, because British Airways knew that if people held the item and held the perfume or whatever it was, they were more likely to buy it. So we were encouraged to always give the item to the passenger to hold, okay? So let's move on here and we'll talk about this a bit more, okay? So the newsletter benefits. Well, going back to what I said about being different, you need to stand out in your marketplace. You need to be different from your competition because a lot of people sell exactly the same as you, okay? And the University of Bangor, which is in Wales, the UK, did a scan, an MRI scan, and they found that the brain and the body actually responded differently to printed materials as opposed to digital materials. And they concluded that the printed materials had a deeper level of emotional processing. So in other words, what that means is that you feel a more of an emotional connection to printed things. They have more value to you when you hold things and touch things. And one of the good things about customer newsletters that are hard copy is that they're cheap. Yeah, they're not expensive, right? I currently spend €1 per client per month, so 12 euros per client per year to produce and send and everything. The whole production, the whole sending, everything only cost me €1 per client per month or 12 euros per client per year. So you can see how this connects to what I said earlier about high acquisition cost, okay? Because this is a lot less than, for example, advertising on Google or Facebook. This is a much cheaper way to market your business, okay? Just bear with me a moment. Sorry about this. Here we go. Okay, something stopped now. Why is it not working? Okay, with you. So look, the newsletter. This, as I said before, this leads us very nicely onto the second secret, because your newsletter then becomes your content machine, okay? So I'm going to go into some details about how I produce the newsletter, okay? So this is very important because it has to be well written, remember? And this is the way to write a well-written newsletter. I've read books on newsletters. There's whole books written about customer newsletters, okay? And, you know, the first page, surprise, surprise, has to be all about you, okay? So on page one, I often talk about me, or not necessarily me, but my family, or things we're doing in life. And you might say, you might be surprised and say, but Bill, you know, my life is pretty boring, right? I don't have much to talk about, right? And I felt exactly the same, yeah? But remember what I said about people buying from people and people buying from you, okay? So there has to be a connection between you and your clients. Now, I don't write anything too exciting about my family, okay? Like, I might write about how we've introduced gratitude at lunchtime, for example, on Sunday. And we have done this in my family. So before we have lunch, we talk about how grateful we are about things. And then we have our lunch and we talk about things that we're grateful for. And it really helps, yeah, with teenagers, okay? So I write about that on the front page, you know, and I talk about this. And you'd be amazed how much response you get from people who are in a similar situation to you. Now, most of my clients are middle-aged women, 40s, in their 40s. They have children. So they connect with that. They connect with things from my family. And they relate to me because of that, okay? So page one is usually about you. Obviously, occasionally you can put a little promotion on the front page, you know, when you're doing a promotion, but you don't overly advertise in the newsletter, okay? The second page is something current or of interest to your clients. Now, I usually call this second page educational marketing, okay? So what you're putting on here is something of value to your clients. So, you know, my clients, as I mentioned, are women, mostly. 70% of my clients are women who pay for services at our school. So I put things that they are interested in. Like I usually put things that are quite motivational, things that are inspiring, stories, things like that. And they like that. And the third page can be really, really valuable to your business, okay? Because on the third page, you can focus on very much on your clients, and you can, for example, say client in focus, yeah? And your client will really, really appreciate this. And, you know, this obviously creates a deeper connection between you and a good client, for example. And you can highlight, they can talk about their business on that page. And you can then create partnerships with your client. For example, they might reciprocate that favor that you've done, that nice thing you've done for them, and say, hey, you know, you can leave some leaflets in my business, or maybe you can market to my clients or do a discount for my clients. And that's something you can actually reach out to the community and do, which is what I have done. And for example, this month I'm including a local karate school, and the sensei, the instructor of the karate school, is the feature on my page 3. Now, of course, I'm now creating a relationship with him and a partnership with him, and he may then allow me to, you know, do a promotion for his clients. And this can be gold, right? Because you're getting access to what is called in marketing other people's network, or OPN. You can see that there on the slide, OPN, which is other people's networks. So if you access other people's networks with similar clients, like teenagers, for example, well, there's a lot of value in that, and you may be able to get a lot of new clients from your new partner. And also you can feature a new colleague and promote a new colleague. And, you know, that obviously is great for your colleague. They feel good about that. And it's a way to introduce and connect people, your clients and contacts, to your colleagues, to your new colleagues as well. So you're creating a deeper relationship. And basically, this is what it's about, isn't it? Creating a deeper relationship with your clients, past clients and contacts. Now, page 4, I always do a Student of the Month feature. And, you know, I feature a very successful student. I ask my teachers, I say, well, who do you recommend this month to be Student of the Month? And we contact the parent or the student, and we ask them to feature on that page. We give them a prize as an incentive, and they always are happy. I've had 1 or 2 clients say no, but 90% of the time they say yes. And this is obviously a great testimonial for your business. And, you know, people can see the successes of your clients and of your students. Obviously, you want to keep the theme quite light and fun. So we include a few jokes and motivational quotes. And something I'm going to introduce next month is referrals. I'm going to mention those who've referred the business and referred the school to encourage others to do the same. And also this month, actually, I introduced a crossword, like a very basic small English crossword. And this will obviously keep people on the newsletter for longer, and also makes the newsletter something they can hand to a friend, or someone else can have value from as well. Okay, so there's a lot of value in this newsletter. Notice what I don't really talk about. Have you noticed what I'm not really talking about in the newsletter? Anyone can see what I'm not really mentioning in the newsletter? Or sales? Yeah, exactly. I'm not talking about sales. I'm not making an offer. That's right. I'm not marketing. Exactly. I'm not just trying to sell, not doing straight marketing. Thanks, Marta. Yeah, and I'm not really talking about the business. I'm not really talking about my business, you know, because people don't really want to know about your business, do they? They're just, you know, that people are interested in people. You know, people like gossip. We don't like to admit it, but we do. That's why celebrities and celebrity culture is so big in the world. We like to know what people are doing. You can talk about a new service. Yes, you can. I wouldn't use it too much, you know. It's like a lifestyle magazine. Exactly. That's what it's about. It's about people. Every single page is about people, because that's what we like to read about. And it's not about my business. It's not about my school. You know, it's not about the building, or that's boring, right? People don't like to read about things like that. That's boring. And this is why it's so important to write a newsletter well. So it's really well written. Yeah. And what you're doing is you're creating kind of like an educational, especially with page 2, an educational page there, which helps people, you know, with various things. And very occasionally, like once or twice a year, I will do a promotion on the front page. But if you're not overly selling to people accept that page, and they respond to it, because you're not constantly trying to sell. Yeah, because people don't like to be sold to, right? I assume it's all in English. Very good question. Thanks for that, Marta. So what I do, because we're an English school, we're not actually a language school, we're an English school. So what we do is I put it about 50-50, you know. So page 2 is what I write myself, and I put that in English. Now, obviously, you have to put it in very, very basic English, okay? So no jargon. The first page I put in Portuguese to increase connection and engagement. And the third page is usually in the client's words, so they write it for me, and that's in Portuguese. And the fourth page is also written by the student, and I give guidelines, and obviously we edit both pages, obviously. But so page 3, so page 1, 3, and 4 are all in Portuguese. Page 2 is in English, and the jokes and quotes are all in English, okay? So it's a bit of a mix. So that's a great question. Thanks for that. So also another thing you've got to remember is that the newsletter, I overproduce the newsletter. So I then have excess newsletters. So what I do with those, I go around to various cafes and businesses that I know and will accept my newsletter, and I put it in their businesses. And so when people are waiting somewhere like in a dentist, they're there, it's something to read. And that's another way of getting new clients from your newsletter. You just have to go out and distribute it. The cafes enjoy it. They like it because it keeps people in their cafes for longer, so they spend more money. So they like receiving my newsletter, okay? So any more questions about this this newsletter that I'm discussing today? Has anyone got any more questions in the chat box? Please let me know. Okay, someone's typing. Is it in color? Yeah, actually, I tell you, I might have an example. Martina, are you there? Do you have or Kate, do you have an example we can put on the presentation? How much time does it take? Yeah, good questions. Yeah, good questions. Excellent. How long does it take to produce? Local hairdressers, exactly. Yeah. Well, you know, that's a great question about time, because we talked about time being an issue, right? And as I just mentioned to you, I produce page 2, right? And don't forget, I only put each page has a maximum of 250 words. Okay, you don't want to go too heavy on the words. 2 pictures on each page and 250 words maximum. Okay, so writing 250 words for me now is very, very. I'm very good at it. I'm quick because I've got up to speed. When I first started, yes, it was a little bit of a challenge. Okay, but it's something you become much better at. And I can teach you how to do this. And of course, you can get people to do your writing for you. It's, that's not really an issue. The first page I also write, and that's something. Don't forget, this is a month. It takes a month until the next issue. So you have time. This is something I just pick up along the way. So what's happening in my life, and I write a few notes down, and the content sort of comes, from that. And don't forget, I said that page 3 and page 4 are written by the partner or the colleague or the client and the student of the month. They do that page for me. So all I have to do is edit those 2 pages. Yeah. And so those 2 pages really, you just have to edit them. They're very, very quick. So really the writing for me is page 1 and 2. And like I said, you've got a whole month to create the content, and it's only 500 words in total, right? So that's not a lot of words to create. The jokes take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and the quotes. And then I have a designer I use on Upwork, and he does all the layout for me in about an hour or 2. Yeah, it's all done. We have to go back and forth, a couple of edits, and then it's done, And then I send it to my printer, and he does it. It takes about maybe 4 or 5 days for him to print it and package all the envelopes. And then it's a question, he delivers them to me, and then I take them to the post office, and I'm in the post office every month, and then the job's done. So that's how much time I spend on it. Good questions. Thanks, guys. Really great to have your input. I don't know if we can get the actual newsletter on there. Martina, if you're there, let me know. So let's move on to the third secret. This is the big one for me, right? Because there's no point attracting your bears to bad honey, right? So the bad honey would be poor staff or unsuitable staff. Because you're attracting more now. You're attracting more bears, but your honey has to be good quality and has to taste good for the bears to stick and to stay around and then to tell their friends, right? So these quotes really are fantastic. I got this quote from a guy called Felix Dennis. He wrote a book a long time ago called How to Get Rich. And this has been a game changer for me, because this is so true. You have to hire talent that is smarter than you, and then you delegate to them, right? And this has been what I've done, and it works fantastically well. Okay, you have to know your limitations as a boss, and you have to hire people that are smarter in those areas you are not, and then you give them a responsibility to take the business forward for you. Okay, because the people are not your most important asset. The right people are, and the right people are people that have the skills that you don't, and you don't want to work on. For example, my skills are in customer service, writing, and I'm quite bad at organizational skills and admin skills. So my director of education, who I employed through the system I'm about to show you, he's really smart on tech. He's really smart on organizational. He's really smart on not procrastinating. He's really smart on producing content. For example, he's written a brand new student book for me, right? Because he's got a lot of skills that I don't have, and so we complement each other. And this is what you need to get into your business. Okay, people that have the skills that you don't, or you don't want to develop. So the third master plan is how to recruit A-player staff on autopilot. This has been a massive game changer for us. And this can create your freedom lifestyle, as I explained before. You have to learn how to recruit properly. And I did this through necessity. I employed 2 really bad teachers at one stage. And one was dyslexic, which is just crazy, right, to think about it. And one had no conception of English grammar. So I was very, very naive and ignorant about this process. And I thought I had to do something. I just had to do something because I was really embarrassed. Some of my clients were exposed to these teachers. I was really ashamed of myself for bringing these teachers in. And I knew I had to invest in my education to change that, right? So I invested $5,000, right? It's a lot of money. This was a few years ago as well, in my education on this. But it wasn't actually about recruitment. This was a marketing course I bought. And the same marketing course now would cost you $18,000 to buy. And the guy that I bought from, his masterminds, he does mastermind workshops. He charges $100,000 to join his mastermind. This guy knows what he's talking about. He's got several multi-million-pound businesses. But that $5,000 was huge for me. It was a lot of money. I didn't even tell my wife that I'd spent that money. I was terrified to tell her. But let me tell you, just this module within the course, how to recruit A-player staff, was worth the $5,000 on its own. And I learned a hell of a lot more. Thankfully, but it's worth it on its own, because I've learned how to automate my recruitment 90% using a CRM, and you can see a picture of a CRM on the screen there. And I know Lang Lion have a CRM. Many of you are probably using their CRM. If you are not familiar, I would encourage you to use their CRM. They do a 2-week trial for free of their CRM, so go ahead and try that out on your platform if you have it. And so this can be automated massively, the recruitment process. And of course, this saves you, it saved me hundreds of hours of time, because my recruitment was taking hours and hours. I felt a real obligation to reply to every email. So I was spending so much time on this, and I was getting really bad results. And you've got to remember that, when you have good honey, it attracts more bears, right? Going back to our analogy. And, when you have good quality honey, you not only attract more bears, but you can attract more qualified bears. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, you can attract better quality clients, because you can then start to increase your prices. Okay. And, within our business, my wife's business, I've increased our prices every 2 years without fail, and had no pushback whatsoever. And that's because this kind of marketing keeps your clients with you, and it keeps better quality clients that have a little bit more money in their pocket. And so they're more happy to spend consistently in your business. And more importantly, they don't present lots of problems to you within your business. So you have a nicer business to work in. You don't have any problems. I have zero problems with my clients because they're very good clients. Yeah. They're not put off by higher prices. Okay. Because they see their education or their child's education as an investment, which all education is. It's an investment. But one thing we can't get more of, everyone is the same. We can't get more hours in a day. You know, Elon Musk has the same hours as you, and this is precious time. And this process saves you hours and hours of time. Okay, this is why it's so important. So how do we recruit A-player staff? Well, the first starting point is you have to create an identity statement for your business. Now, does anyone have one of these already in their business? An identity statement. It's a vision of your values as a business. Okay. Now, I didn't have this for a long time within my business, and it sounds very simple. But does anyone have this already in their business? Just put in the chat box if you have a vision of your core values, like an identity statement, how you operate as a business. Just let me know. For years, I didn't. So you may be at that point as well. No. Okay. Well, I didn't get a response, so maybe no one has. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about what it is. So an identity statement is a vision of your values. Okay. It's how you operate as a business. It's what you value as a person, you know, and it's very, very important because once you create an identity statement about your business, what you expect from your clients, what you expect from your staff, what you expect from yourself, and you create a series of values about what you represent, then you use that as a kind of marker for when you have issues within the business. So for example, one of our core values in our business is fairness, right? Fairness to employees and fairness to clients. And so whenever an issue comes up with a client, you know, if like someone asks for some special treatment or something, we say, well, you know, one of our core values is we treat everyone the same. So it's, you know, we explain that's one of our core values, and that becomes a reason to say no sometimes to someone. Okay. But also it's a way of attracting really good staff to your business, because people are attracted to a business that has good values and, you know, represents good things and if employees know they're going to have a good experience working for you, they're more likely to be attracted to you. And let's be honest, you know, good quality staff, they can choose where they're going to work. They have a choice. They don't have to come to your business because they have a great CV, really good qualifications. They've got a choice of where to work. So you have to treat your recruitment like marketing. You have to attract them to your business. And this is one way to do it. You also have to make your selection process a little bit challenging. Now, I'm not saying make it really, really difficult, right? Now, you know, our selection process has a few stages where the applicant has to, you know, follow a few instructions and do a few tasks, okay? They're not really challenging, but the effect of this is that it repels weak candidates, because what the weak candidates do, they say, oh, I can't be bothered to do that. I can't be bothered, you know, I'm not doing that. You know, I just want an easy life, right? But of course, they're not the kind of employees that you want. You don't want an employee that says, I want an easy life, right? And I can't follow instructions. You want people that can follow instructions willingly and are open to a bit of a challenge, you know? Because when they come into your business, these good candidates, they see opportunities as a challenge, and they want challenges and they want more opportunities. And of course, that drives the business forward. So it's very, very effective. That's a big part of it, repelling weak candidates through making your selection process a little bit challenging. And also, we talked about this previously, you want to automate as much as possible. Currently, I'm automating about 90% of this using a CRM. And we get involved very much at the end of the process when it comes to interviews. And of course, I delegate that to my director of education. He does the interviewing now, and he came through the process himself, so he knows it inside out. And we have meetings to discuss the candidates afterwards, and he gives me a short list, and we go from there. So that saves so much time, as I said before. And so it's all about marketing. You want to attract the best, and you have to treat your recruitment the same way as you treat your business. You want to attract A players, because A players are attracted to a challenge, okay? And, for example, I'll give you an example. When I advertise a job, I actually put a testimonial from a teacher on our recruitment. So it actually says on the advert, how wonderful it is working in our school and what he loves about it. And he did that voluntarily, And our most recent teacher just said to me, said to my colleague actually the other day, this is the best school I've ever worked in. And this is because we have really good values and really good colleagues within the building. And so it's a very exciting place to be for these type of people. They thrive off this. And I'll give you a couple of examples. I've talked about my director of education who's written a student book. He's actually written a whole student book, and he's finished it within about 8 months. He's written a whole book for us. And our most recent teacher has just voluntarily said, I'll take care of Instagram. He knows I'm not big on social media. I don't do social media. He said, I'll take care of Instagram. I'll do that all for you. He just volunteered. And this is what tends to happen, A players will just ask to do things for you and implement change for you. And a good analogy is to think of a bus, yeah? So you want employees that don't just get on the bus for the ride, yeah? You want your employees to actually drive the bus for you, right? And be the bus drivers. And there's a lot of research into the top and most successful companies in the world over time. And this is how they recruit. They don't recruit by saying, these are our policies and these are our plans. Do you fit in with this plan? Will you come into the business and implement this plan? That's not how it works. What the top companies, the most successful companies do is they say, let's get the best possible applicant, bring them into the business, and then empower them to drive the business for them on behalf of the company, because they're so good, they have that talent and they have that ability. And so this is kind of doing this on a smaller scale. Obviously, we're not a big company, but this is doing this same process on a smaller scale. Does that make sense to everyone? Just let me know in the chat box. Does that make sense? So I know you're still there listening. Let me know. And if you have any questions on this, let me know. Yeah. Okay, someone's typing. It's a big one. It's a long one. Okay, well, we'll move on while that one comes in, okay? So let's move on to the next slide. Just give me a second. So yeah, this kind of really, as you know, this is the third secret, okay? So, and this is a big one, right? How to recruit, how to recruit the right people and do it correctly, because this will change your business, and this will give you the freedom that you want, because this has worked for us. And it's been amazing for us, brought in the best quality staff we can imagine. So let's just quickly summarize what we've learned today, okay? Bringing it all together. We've talked a lot about attracting your clients, or your bears, as in the analogy, yeah, to your honey. And we do this via not only online and offline content, but also through attracting A-player staff. And this is kind of making better honey for your bears, right? Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention, actually, going back to your newsletter, when I talked about a content machine, I'm not sure if I mentioned to you, it actually escaped my mind, that content now becomes your content that you can distribute throughout your entire social media. So for example, you can send out the quotes as an Instagram or a TikTok, or you can send out a podcast from your page 1 or your page 2, or you can send out, what I do is I do an email, because there's 4 pages every week. I do an email of that page. I put it into an email with the same pictures. Okay, so you can distribute. I give the content to my colleague to distribute on Instagram, as I mentioned before. He does Instagram for me. So that when I'm going back to that content machine, it becomes all the content that you need for everything that you distribute online or through social media. You can even have it as an interview. You can, if you like using YouTube, you can say to someone, interview me, and we'll discuss the topic on this page. And there you have a video blog or a vlog. Yeah. So that's another very effective way of using your newsletter to the maximum. So yeah, you need to attract A-player staff, and obviously happy bears or happy clients increase your renewals. Okay. And they then talk to their family and their friends more about you, because they're getting better results from better staff. Better teachers deliver better results. And so therefore you get more reviews and better referrals and more referrals. And it then compounds, and it becomes a nice little cycle of success for you. And only once you've put these two together, your content and your recruitment, can you start thinking about having a more freedom lifestyle like I am now, and my wife is already. Yeah, those need to be in place. And the staff, the A-player staff, allow you to do this. Okay, they allow you to have a freedom lifestyle. So this brings us back to the original quote, and you can see why this, sums everything up. Because the best advertising you have is a loyal customer, spreading the word about how incredible your business is. And your business is now incredible because you're making it more relatable, and you're investing more in your clients. Now, I'm not talking just about a newsletter through direct mail. I'm talking about increasing other aspects of your customer service. But I don't really have time to go into that right now. We're just focusing on these two. But of course, you can send birthday cards, you can send letters, there's other ways of using direct mail as well. But you're increasing that communication with your clients. So I hope you've got some value from this today, and it's opened your eyes to a new possibility. I did promise at the end of this webinar you would get 3 very simple documents from me that started this very process off. So I think Martina might be able to put that into the chat box now for you, or maybe I can. Let's see if I can access the chat box. Yep. No, it's not in there for me. So maybe Martina or Kate, you can jump in for that and attach them to a link to the chat box for me. That'd be great. I also mentioned an offer to join me on a foundation course, and we'll go into details in that in a minute. Just quickly. Whoops, so Daisy, what have I done here? Excuse me. Let's move that across. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Langline for this opportunity to present this to you and to share what I do within my wife's business and the success we've had doing this. It's increased my renewals from about 20%. I was averaging about 60%, and it's gone up to about 80%. So, I averaged a 20% increase in renewals from doing this. It's also increasing the number of customers or clients at my business, because now my staff are so good that people are talking more and getting better results. So thanks to Langline. It's been a fantastic opportunity for me, my first ever webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. So what now for you guys? Well, what is it worth to you to increase your renewals up to 80% or even more if you're already achieving this by implementing some of these strategies? If you want to, you can click the link here. I will put it in the chat box for you now. Let me just try and get access to this chat box. I have to say, I'm not very familiar with this platform. I think I've got a link. There's a link to my calendar in the chat box. If you want to talk more about this with me, book a call with me, and we'll have a discovery call to see if you would like to join me on my first ever course, a foundation course. It's called a Masterplan, the Wheel of Fortune foundation course, Masterplan. and it will be free. The first module will be free to you. So you can just try it out, see if you like it. It will massively over deliver for you, because this is only a small part of what I want to teach on the course. And the content of the course will be like this, okay? The first week is a bit of a challenge kickoff. It'll be free. I will give you a lot of value within that first week, and to encourage you to stay, obviously. And then we'll go into the learning of what I've taught you today, which is how to implement and increase the lifetime value of your clients up to 80%, how to create your content machine, how to write the content, and how to distribute it properly. Because don't forget, it has to be well written, okay? It has to be written properly. How to actually implement and start a recruitment campaign that is fully automated for you. Well, not fully automated, 90% automated, and brings in those A-player staff that you want into your business. And then week 5 was a lot of gold in this week 5, because we'll talk about how to create the partners to access your ideal clients. There's a way of doing it correctly, of course. And then week 6 we'll focus on sales and how to transform your prospects and convert your prospects into clients. And then, of course, how to ask for and get 5-star reviews and referrals. So if you want to join me, the link is in the chat box. I think I can't see it, but I'll put it again. I think it's in there. I'll try and get the chat box up, actually, because it's not very visible to me for some reason. Okay. I'm right at the beginning of the chat now for some reason. I don't really know why. But anyway, that's the end of the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and got some value from it. I'd like to thank Langline again. And it's been an absolute pleasure for me. And to our partners at Langline, I'd like to say a massive thanks. If you have any questions and you would like to ask any questions now, please feel free to ask. And I don't know if, Kate, you can put in a copy of the newsletter and the forms?
Yes, they are. I think that for some reason you can't see a chat because at some point I think you've missed a few questions. So now it's a great moment. If you have any questions for Bill, you can put them in the chat box. I think that you gave us a lot of useful information. So if you want to write your best things that you take from this webinar, that would be also great. The most important things for you. So I will go through some questions because I think you've skipped them. So
yeah, I'm kind of for some reason I'm at the beginning of the chat box, not at the end of the chat box, which is quite strange.
So maybe you need to move the zip on the side. But I will try to just help you. Just a moment. So Marta asked about your newsletter, because Martina, she added this. It looks nice, but isn't it too short? Just 4 pages.
No, I wouldn't say it's too short, because people's attention span these days isn't very high, and so you want to make it quite visual. And if you make it too long, then you're spending too much time on it. In my opinion, this has to be quite efficient for you, something you can produce quite quickly. And so I wouldn't encourage it to be more than 4 pages. You can produce a 2-page newsletter. Some people do that. My recommendation is a 4-page. I've done a lot of research on how to produce newsletters, and that seems to be the ideal number of pages, 4 pages.
Okay. Another question. So, whether you give your staff independence in their teaching?
How do I give them independence in their teaching?
Do you give them independence?
We have guidelines, of course, for our teaching, and we have ongoing teacher training from our Director of Education. So he's implementing training on a weekly basis for our teachers. One of the best things about employing excellent staff through this process is that you can trust them. They're professional people, and that you can trust them to deliver. And of course, you very quickly know within your business if someone is not quite, working to the standard you expect. You quickly pick up on that. So my answer to that is one of the process brings in A players. So the trust is there from the very beginning, because they're much more professional people,
Yeah, I agree. But we have 2 questions, very similar, about people our viewers who have schools in small cities. small towns, and they say that A players, they prefer Warsaw, big cities. Apparently one of them is from Poland. And how you attract, do you have any idea how to attract A player when
Yeah,
they
that is a
prefer big
challenge,
cities?
and we're in a small town as well. We're not in a city. Where our business is a small town. So yes, that is a challenge, of course. The only way I can really, obviously that's a lot of teachers like to be where the action is. I accept that. One of the things I did to help one of my teachers was give him the company car. So he had the car so he could actually live away from the business,
Okay.
So his daughter goes to a school a little bit further away. So I gave him the company car. So that's one solution. Or if you include free transport. But again, making, my director of education came to the school not because of where it was. He came to because he saw the selection process and he was like, this is so different, right? I'm really attracted to this school. There's something about this school that's really different. And he says that that's what motivated him to apply for the school and come to the school. And he really wanted to work with us because of who we were and what the process was. So again, it's about this whole attracting business. If you've got the right business and the right structure and the right values in your identity statement, then you should attract people regardless of where you are, because a lot of professional teachers want to obviously work in the best places, increase their CV, make their CV better. So they will not necessarily go to a school in a city just because it's convenient. They'll go to a school that they think is much better, and affords them a better experience. And so, for example, that testimonial on my advert for teachers is quite informative. It's like, this is a great place to work. I want to work there. So that might help counteract that problem.
Basically, you need to have a very, very sweet honey.
Exactly. Yes. Good quality honey. I totally agree.
Good quality honey. Okay. Another question for Carolina. She said, my problem about recruitment is that hours I can offer them. As my students are kids, we can only work in the afternoons.
Yeah.
Each teacher works 8 to 12 hours per week. So any ideas?
Yeah, well, for me, that's not enough hours. My teachers teach 25 hours a week. We have 40-hour contracts here in Portugal, so our teachers are maxed out at 25 hours a week, and 15 hours is considered time for planning. Although because they're such good teachers, they don't spend 15 hours planning. But that makes up for meetings, teacher training, marking homework, marking tests. That's all covered in that 15 hours. So I would increase the working hours of your teachers. Absolutely. The 12 hours is not enough for a working week for anyone, frankly, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe they work their part-time. We don't know.
Oh yeah, if they're part-time, yeah, absolutely. But don't forget, now we can teach online. You can teach all through the day as well, and I encourage we have a lot of private work during the day, online.
Okay. Martina, she added those documents, so you can download them from the chat box.
Great.
For any questions about the price of the Bill's course, please contact with Bill directly, and I'm sure he will answer all the questions. So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, the first module's free, so there's no commitment whatsoever. I will deliver a lot of value in that first week and obviously it's getting to know you. I like to practice what I preach, so I will over deliver for you on this. And if you book a call on that link for my calendar, we can have a chat, and I'll go into the details of what I'm going to teach, and so then you can make a decision if you want to join or not. So that's absolutely fine.
Another question: do your teachers, non-natives, must have a TEFL or any other exam allowing them to teach in your school?
Yeah, I mean, we say you need a CELTA. I mean, I don't put great value on a CELTA, and although it's a qualification, as a minimum qualification. It depends what you're recruiting for. For example, one of my teachers, we put out an ad for, we needed a 5 years of minimum experience, right? Because we knew that we wanted someone to move into management, right? So he came in through that process and was really attracted to that. He was like, I've done 5 years and I'm experienced and I'm attracted to this school. Our other teacher, we wanted to come in much sooner so that we can train them, you know. So we have a teacher training program, which also my director of education created. Again, the A-player staff, they create things for you. And so we put the requirement down to, I think it was 3 years, 2 or 3 years. I can't remember now. 3 years, I think it was. And so now we're training that teacher exactly how we want him to teach. Okay. And of course, he's getting a lot of value as well. So it depends what you're recruiting for. But teacher training is also something that applicants are really attracted to because they want to increase their skills, you know.
And maybe do you employ just natives?
No, I mean, you know, you can't. You know, when I started the business, it was all like native teachers, you know. You can't really advertise like that. It's not legal in Europe to advertise like that. You have to say native level teachers, okay? Now, my 2 teachers are not native English. One is Malaysian and one is Greek, actually, we have. But they're both, like, my Greek employee is completely bilingual. He's got a degree in English. He grew up with a Canadian. Malaysia, the first language of Malaysia is English. You know, so I like having variety of nationalities within a business. I would encourage it, but obviously, you know, part of the process of recruiting A players is to test their English a little bit and their grammar, and that's part of the process.
Okay. There are some very specific questions. I will just add 1 or 2, and then one of my own questions. So, do your teachers independent or do they have a contract?
They have a contract, yeah. We could, and I think we're one of the only schools in Portugal that give contracts, right? Because a lot of people do them what are called green receipts, and they have to do their own taxes and everything else. However, that's another thing that attracts good quality candidates, is to offer a contract. So yes, it costs my business a lot more to have a contract, and it gives the employees a lot more security and a lot more benefits to have a contract. So we do the right thing, you know, and we give a contract, yes.
And I will just read one comment. Lots of teachers will choose Warsaw or the new city near New Warsaw because of the salary hourly rate. That's the main thing. School values will be good to keep them, but not really to employ them, someone comments.
Well, yeah, I mean, your pricing, I would never, ever reduce your prices. I saw a blog recently.
But it's not for, I think it's not for prices for students. I think it's a rate for teacher, how you pay your teacher. So that in big cities, there are higher rates. They have higher rates, so.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, well, I guess you've got to, you know, you can't undervalue yourself wherever you are. And one of the good things about once you get a good employees, you start to get better results, is that you can increase your prices and people don't react. I've never had a bad reaction to increasing my prices ever. And I do it every 2 years. Okay. It's still scary to do it, but you have to do it. You have to increase your prices, you know? Inflation is crazy right now and you have to match that, you know? And don't forget, you know, higher prices attract better clients, because if you're too cheap, people think you're not good quality, you know, and you have to position yourself as a quality business, you know, and price is quite a big factor in that, you know.
I have a question because I remember our first conversation and you told me something very interesting about birthdays. And in Langland, we have birthday module that can remind you about birthdays. You can send birthday wishes from this. Yeah. Can you just add 2 sentences about what you do when your student has a birthday?
Yeah. I mean, we send to our adults, we send a digital email, birthday card, and Langline has that function, like you said, to send a birthday wishes, which is great, and increase your communication with your client, which is obviously one of the main reasons people leave a business. So you have to always be working on that. With our kids, we actually send a hard copy, a birthday card every year. We change it every year and we send a hard copy in the post. And you know, the reaction from the kids is they're so excited because they don't get birthday cards here in Portugal. They don't exist. So again, we stand out, we're different. And none of the other clubs they go to do that, you know. So they really, really appreciate it, you know, the kids and also the adults when they get a digital one, because we personalize it as well. So yeah, absolutely. Would encourage it. Absolutely.
That must be lovely. Okay, I think that we will. Oh, people love to get a card.
Yeah,
Someone.
absolutely. Yeah, they really do.
Yeah.
So that's another piece of direct mail that you can use, you know, to increase that engagement and increase that connection with your clients. It's really, really effective.
I have one question, but I don't think it will be the last one. Okay. How many teachers do you have? I understand it's very difficult due to the hours that students free schedules. I don't understand the questions utterly. How many teachers do you have? I understand. Maybe it's about schedule. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you have to be, when your teachers are applying to jobs for your jobs, you have to be very clear about the schedule. You know, our work is generally unsociable hours, you know, and so you have to say most of our work is evening or nighttime, and Saturdays are very busy, you know. So for example, my teachers, I always give Monday off, so they always have Sunday and Monday, 2 days together off, and that makes, again, more attractive, you know.
Okay. Thank you for your time, for sharing your experience with us. I think it was very, very interesting for everyone. And as we can see that our participants were very active, they had a lot of questions. So thank you again. And I hope that we will have a chance to meet again.
Oh yeah, for sure. And thank you so much, Kate, for the opportunity. And thanks to all your viewers. It's been a great experience for me. My first ever webinar. I've absolutely loved it. So thanks so much for everyone for staying on the call and for contributing all the questions. And, you know, it's been great fun. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye now. Bye, everyone.